Welcome students from the course Teaching Assessment of Macro Skills.
Today,
We will be learning new topic entitled Designing Reading Lesson.
hey wait! Before we go on to our topic, did you know kids in the classroom without classroom libraries read 50% less than kids in classroom with libraries?
Wow! But how do you say so?
Well, it's just a fact about reading. Gets?
Okay, got it. So let's define reading. Reading is one of the macro skills which are listening, speaking, reading, writing, viewing, and representing. Reading, it is the action or skill of reading written or printed matter silently or loud. It is also a process of looking at a series of written symbols and getting meaning from them.
Now, what is reading lesson? Reading lesson is a phonics course designed for parents who want to teach their children to read before they start school, and also for instructors as well as tutors who teach basic reading skills. It is designed especially for young children ages 3 to 7 years old.
Now the question is, how to teach a reading lesson? Here are the steps in reading lesson.
Step number 1. Introduce and teach the new sounds, wherein the lessons are systematically introduced and teach the complete phonemic code. Now, what is the complete phonemic code? It is the specific print sound. The most effective way to ensure that the child acquires necessary knowledge is to directly and systematically teach them the complete phonemic code. These are the vowel sounds, consonant digraphs, vowel combinations, and so on. Let's say, for example, S and H. What is the sound of S and H? It sounds like this. Sh, as in sheep. Step number 2. Practice sounds cards. Practice the print to sound relationship for the new sounds plus the previous sounds. Previously, we introduced S and H sound, which is sh. And now, let's try to introduce new sounds. The sound of A and P. P, P. SH, sh, A, P. As in shop. It links the visual image of the print to the oral and auditory processes of saying and hearing the correct sounds. Step number 3. Write and say the sound. Practice writing and saying the sounds together. Writing sound uses kinetic, visual, and auditory processes to directly link the printed letter to the sounds. The goal is for the student to automatically know the printed alphabetic character equals sound association of the complete phonemic code. The student effectively learns this printed letter sound association through direct instruction and repeated practice. Practice and drill the direct print sound until the student has mastered automatic knowledge. Step number 4. Word-making activity. This highly effective multisensory activity develops phonemic awareness, builds strong understanding of the phonetic nature of our language, and strengthens phonetic reading skills as well as blending and tracking. This word-making activity incorporates also in kinetic, visual, and auditory processes and reinforces basic sound skills. Now look at this example. These sound tiles are particularly effective with remedial students. See, it is also lots of fun. The kids will surely enjoy the game.
Step number 5. Sound changing activity. This activity uses the sound tiles to emphasize phonemic awareness and the attention to detail that it is important in reading. Look at the example. The words bit, but, and shot are sounds differently depending on the consonant and vowels used. Step number 6. Reading words. The child practices reading list of decodable words. Practice phonological processing, blending, and tracking. Remember, decoding is important because it is the foundation on which all other reading instruction builds. If students cannot decode words, their reading will lack fluency, their vocabulary will be limited, and their reading comprehension will suffer. So these are the examples of reading word. Another thing, automatic recognition of individual words leads to fluent reading of strings of words, which in turn leads to full comprehension. That is the goal of reading instruction.
Step number 7. Writing or spelling words. In this activity, the child writes or spells words from the decodable list. Writing words by sound directly strengthens phonologic processing.
Step number 8. Reading decodable sentences. These short sentences and later short paragraphs offer practice reading decodable texts. These are the example of decodable sentences, from short sentences to short paragraphs. How to teach reading lesson? So we have here the reading lesson framework, which comprises of 3 reading stages. The pre-reading or before reading, reading or during reading, and the post-reading stage or after reading. And they have their aims. In pre-reading stage, its aims are to get students interested in the topic, to give students an idea of what they're going to read, and to prepare students with new vocabulary. And in the reading stage, its aims are to practice reading for the main idea, to practice reading for detail, and to learn and practice useful language in the text. Lastly, the post-reading stage, its aim is to practice responding to the text. The pre-reading stage. The pre-reading stage is a stage that helps students think about what they know about the topic and predict what they will read or hear. There are 3 steps to consider in the pre-reading stage. Number 1, getting students interested. It needs a visual. It's easy if there's internet in the classroom. Just show a picture. For example, have students discuss a relevant question in groups, like, what do you see in this picture? What do you observe from the picture? Next, introduce the text. For example, announce it that they are going to read the poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. The last stage to be considered in the pre-reading stage is the pre-teach vocabulary. Decide on how many words you're going to pre-teach to help prepare students for reading. Elicit rather than explain the words to see if students can tell you something about those words.
The reading stage. It helps students to focus on aspects of the text and to understand it better. The goal of these activities is to help learners to deal as they would deal with it as if the text was written in their first language. First one is reading for the main idea. This activity is designed to help students read quickly for the main idea, a skill they use without thinking in the first language, but may find hard in English. Use a time limit and be serious about it. Give the text out face down. Have students turn it over when you say go, and after 30 seconds, say stop. You may use one of these 2 types of questions. For example, in the poem The Road Not Taken, you may simply ask the question, what are the description of 2 roads? And what are the experiences of persona in the text? Under reading stage, next is reading for detail. Students read and take notes. You can maximize interaction by giving out 1 copy of the text by partner and have students make notes together. Also consider a zigzag reading, where different students read about the text and give their insight
based on the text they read. For other types of text, look for a feature. For example, the theme of the poem, the point of view, figure of speech, and so on. Last is teach useful language in the text. Through coding text, it involves teaching students the method of margin marking so they can place a question mark next to a statement they don't understand, or an exclamation mark next to something that surprised them.
Now, let's proceed to the last stage, which is the post-reading stage. This is a chance for students to say what they think about the text. For example, in creative discussion. Through this, the students will have a chance to develop their ability to use textual evidence. Moreover, students work in multiple ideas and have to balance new ideas with their original conclusions. It's a challenging task. Using evidence in discussion strengthens students' comprehension and confidence. You can also do creative writing, where you will ask the students to choose 5 to 10 words from the text. You can provide categories for the words. For example, the most interesting words or the most important words or interpreting the text. These are the references that we've collected from this topic.
Thank you for listening, and we hope that you learned something.